How can I determine profitable investment areas with good ROI? So over to you, Simon. What are your thoughts on this topic?
Yeah, and we'll use your tool actually extensively throughout this conversation, because I think it's whenever people talk about property investing, they typically will talk about two different returns. They'll talk about return on investment, and what I mean by that is how much profits you make from a property for the investment that you make. So they always use this ROI as a strict calculator. Typically, we find clients make anywhere between, I would say, 6 and 12% ROI. Typically, you will make lower ends of return on investment on single let properties. You'll make greater return on investments for houses of multiple occupations, such as HMOs. And then even further, you can make even more money if you do it right in terms of service accommodation or holiday lets. Now, the other side to that coin of ROI is then capital growth, and where can you find the best return of on terms of capital growth? Typically, it's been London in the past, probably not so much nowadays. But there's never been really a tool that clients often will ask me that question, but there's never been a tool that I could really focus in on until I saw Leonard really give us reports that can do that analysis. We can't do that. We just don't have the capability, the technique to do it right. But Leonard does a great job. So back over to you to kind of go through that.
Yeah, so the way to source properties on Landlord is from the invest part of the platform. If you go to on-market properties, you'll find live listings from agents, and we get new listings every day. So you can get some information about the property, about the price, and then you can start analyze the deal from clicking from the rent analysis, click adjust, and then you will see the metrics based on the platform defaults. So you mentioned the ROI, Simon. I think the ROI, we look at it in two different ways. One is for the first year metrics. So what is going to be the ROI for the short term, and what is going to be the ROI for the long term? So for the short term, basically, it will take into account mainly the cash flow of the first year, or if you did some renovation that improved the value of the property, this basically will add increase your ROI in the short term. So for instance, if you purchase property in this price, but the actual value is 120, then you can see that you already gain nice amount of return in the first year. The long-term ROI will take into account, as you mentioned, the property appreciation. On Landlord, when you analyze the deal, you will get some information about the property and some information about the area. And based on the postcode information, and you can go to postcode information page to get more information about the postcode. So you can see in this specific postcode, you see nice capital growth even in the last 2 years. So the assumption will take the average of the 5 years for the long term, and based on that, we calculate your ROI. But of course, that you can change this number to see, let's say that you think that will be only 3%, to see how it will impact your ROI for the long term. And you can also define what is the long term. Is it 10 years, or it can be even 20 years or less? And another parameter is the IRR, the internal rate of return. So if you want to measure your yield or the cash on cash, so basically the yield on investment, you can do it mainly for the short term. For the long term, you need also to take into account the property appreciation, inflation, and other parameters. And the IRR basically takes those into account. So it's not just the cash flow year over year, but also the property appreciation. So there is a formula for that. You're an accountant, Simon. I believe that it's something that it's a bit complex, but we do it for you, and we calculate the IRR for you, so you can see. And the good thing with Landlord is that you can save the deal as a prospect deal. And then on my portfolio, you can just select the prospect properties, and then you can compare two different properties based on their metrics. So you go to the performance view, and then you can compare the next 12 months cash on cash, the next 12 months ROI, what will be your equity in 10 years, the ROI in 10 years, etc. And you can add columns to this view if you want. So, and then you can compare each, and you can also order by any column you want. And so this is basically the way to source properties and analyze the deal, and then you can store, of course, the details and the metrics, and you can compare more than like one deal to each other.